Hi, I'm Yanka Mishra, and today's video is going to be about CPR. CPR stands for Cardiopulmonary Resuscitation, which is basically something you do in order to save someone's life when they have cardiac arrest or they stop breathing. It's a procedure where you give chest compressions to the person that has gone through cardiac arrest or stopped breathing, and it keeps them alive, pumps blood throughout their body until medical services arrive. In this video, I will be explaining what CPR is and the steps to do it, but remember, this is for adult CPR. This video does not certify you for doing CPR, but anyone can do CPR and you won't get in trouble for doing CPR, as there are in many states in the United States, Good Samaritan laws prevent you from being sued by the person for trying to save their life. The first step in CPR is always going to be assessing the scene, which is making sure there are no dangers or hazards within the area. If you're in the middle of a roller coaster ride and your friend faints and stops breathing, you wouldn't want to start doing CPR in the middle of that. The second step to CPR is checking if they're responsive. This could be lightly tapping them on the shoulder or just be like, "Hey, are you okay?" These are all great ways to check if they're responsive. Responsive meaning that they'll respond to stimuli, and if they're unresponsive, they'll just or not move at all. Another important step of doing CPR is checking if they're breathing. And the way you do this is by looking at their chest and checking if the level rises and falls. If it doesn't, then you know they're not breathing and that they are in need of CPR. But don't be fooled. Sometimes people that are in need of CPR gasp like this. But that still means they need CPR. That's just their body's natural way of trying to get air. Step 3 is that if you're with a group of people, yell at a specific person to call 911 and a different person to get an AED. I've made a video on what AEDs are and what they do in a separate video. Now, why would you do this? Why would you tell someone to do something? Instead of just yelling, "Someone call 911, someone get an AED." And the reason you would do this is that so you assign one person a job, and that ensures that they do it. Because if you just yell, "Call 911" to an entire group of people, then they're just going to assume someone else is going to call 911, and then someone else is going to get the AED, and that the person will be fine. But that's not usually the case. So that's why you assign someone to do something. If you're alone, on the other hand, then you're going to want to call 911, put them on speaker, and so you begin CPR. Step 4 is going to be positioning them on a flat surface. You don't want to be doing it on a bed, or else you're not going to get the full force of the chest compression. So you want to put them on like a hardwood floor or any floor you can get if you can get them to a floor. Step 5 is finally beginning chest compressions. In order to do these chest compressions, you want to get on both knees and use the heel of your hand and put it on the center of their chest. And with the other hand, grasp that hand and then start pushing down on their body or in the center of their chest, like in the video here. Make sure that you're going 100 to 120 beats per minute, or else it's not going to be effective. If you go too fast, then you're not going to allow the blood to fully circulate throughout the body. If you go too slow, it's just not going to work. Always try to keep your elbows straight and aligned when doing it, so it doesn't give some of the force into your elbows, and instead gives the full force into their body. Make sure you're going into their chest 2 inches deep or around 5 centimeters. Many people are concerned that if you do this, it's going to break their rib cage, but that's pretty much necessary in order to save their life, as keeping them alive is much more important than a broken rib cage, which can be fixed. Remember to recoil. Recoil is when you make sure the chest fully rises back to the top. If you don't let this happen, the blood's not going to fully circulate, and that's not going to be very helpful in the end. Since I can't quite show this, the next step would be doing mouth to mouth, where after 30 compressions, now remember, when you're doing your compressions, you're going to say it out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on beat, and you want to make sure you do 30 of them. As soon as you finish 30, you want to do the head tilt chin lift maneuver, where you tilt the head back and lift the chin. This will open the person's airways so you can give them mouth to mouth. The thing about mouth to mouth is that I wouldn't really recommend it, as you don't know what the person's been doing. If they fainted due to fentanyl overdose and you do mouth to mouth with them, then some of that fentanyl can get into your mouth, and that's not very good. So if you don't want to risk it, then I recommend not doing it. But there's also devices such like this that can also let you do mouth to mouth without actually giving physical contact. When you're doing the breathing, make sure you give 2 full breaths And while you're giving the breaths, you check their chest to see if it's lifting and rising. This will indicate that the breaths are actually going through and they're receiving the oxygen that they need. And then after you're done with the 2 breaths, continue doing chest compressions. You want to keep repeating this cycle until EMS arrives. And remember, when you're doing the breathing, don't let it get past 10 seconds. Okay? Spend less than 10 seconds on the breathing if you can. Remember, all of this was for adult CPR, so don't try to do this on a child because you might hurt them really bad. And as soon as you get the AED, you want to drop everything and begin using the AED. The AED will give the shock that will keep them alive, and then you won't have to do the CPR anymore. And as soon as EMS comes, then you don't have to worry about it, and they'll take care of it from there on out. Most of this information can be used for like a practical exam coming up about CPR, but it can also be used as just a good way to learn how to save someone's life. If you're curious, then I hope this helped. I hope you liked this video, and I hope this was informative in some way. And I hope you like and subscribe down below. Thank you for watching. Bye!